As the youngest tenured law professor in the country, I had married my childhood sweetheart, Clara Vance, during the most brilliant year of my career. Known as the power couple of the legal world, we were the blueprint for a perfect marriage in the eyes of everyone who knew us. In the 10th year of our marriage, my mother took my son out for a walk and was struck by a car. The driver was drunk, speeding through a residential zone. My mother only had time to shield her grandson in her arms before she was killed instantly. In the courtroom, my world shattered. My wife, Clara, was sitting at the defense table next to the killer, Caleb Sterling. She wasn't there as a spectator. She was his lead attorney. My client was driving within a reasonable margin of the speed limit, Clara said, her voice cool and professional. The deceased darted into the street in an apparent attempt at insurance fraud, a staged accident that went tragically wrong. Therefore, the deceased estate should bear the primary liability for this incident. I stared at the woman I loved, my eyes bloodshot and stinging with disbelief. My mother would never do that. She was protecting her grandson. I have a witness. But when my 10-year-old son, Leo, took the stand, he didn't look at me. Instead, he reached out and grabbed Caleb Sterling's arm. I saw it, Leo said clearly. Grandma wanted to get hit. She ran right at Uncle Caleb's car on purpose. Dad tried to make me lie about it, but I won't hurt Uncle Caleb. He's my friend. My heart went cold. When the trial ended, the judge ruled in favor of the defense. Caleb Sterling was acquitted of all charges. As the family member of the at-fault party, I was ordered to pay Caleb $10,000 for the repairs to his luxury sedan. Standing on the courthouse steps, I cornered Clara and Leo. Why? You know he killed her. You were there when the police report came in. Why would you help him? I'm sorry, Julian, Clara said, her expression guarded. Caleb's mother died in a mountain climbing accident years ago while trying to save my life. I owe him. I couldn't let him go to prison for a mistake. She pulled a debit card from her designer purse and held it out. There's $10,000 on here. Consider it a gesture from Caleb to help you move on. Move on. I snatched the card, snapped it in half, and threw the pieces in her face. I began to roar, my voice echoing off the marble pillars. Clara, in your eyes, my mother's life is worth 10 grand? That was a human being. That was my mother. Why should her life be the currency you use to pay back your debts to Caleb Sterling? Enough, Clara snapped, her patience wearing thin. This is a courthouse. Stop making a scene and embarrassing us. Leo stood by her side, his lip curling in annoyance. Exactly. Grandma's dead anyway. If Uncle Caleb went to jail, who would take me to the batting cages? God, Dad, why are you being so selfish? I froze, a chill creeping through my veins. Selfish? I couldn't believe these words were coming from the son I had raised and adored for a decade. Caleb Sterling walked over, a smug, triumphant grin on his face. Hey, Julian, look, Leo is just a kid. He's telling the truth as he sees it. Don't take it out on your own son. Uncle Caleb, Leo cried. He ran to Caleb, clinging to his arm like a devoted puppy. I'm a big boy now. I'll protect you from Dad. Good man, Leo. Caleb hoisted the boy up into his arms, the two of them looking like the perfect image of father and son. I watched them, a hysterical laugh bubbling up in my throat. This was the son I treated like a treasure. This was the family I had sacrificed my own career for, staying home to manage the household so Clara could climb the corporate ladder. Clara calmly pulled a document from her briefcase. This is an agreement waiving your right to appeal. Sign it, and we can put this whole thing behind us. Never. I tore the paper into shreds. Clara, don't forget that I'm a scholar of the law. I was a litigator before I was a professor. I will not let my mother's death be for nothing. Clara's eyes turned ice cold. Then you can certainly try. Leaving the court, I returned to the scene of the accident. I tried to pull the security footage from the surrounding shops, only to be told the cameras had been serviced and the footage erased. The car Caleb had been driving had accidentally rolled into a lake during transport to an impound lot. Clara was a master. She had scrubbed the world clean for Caleb Sterling. I liquidated my personal savings and used every favor I had left in the medical examiner's office to get the full autopsy report. Multiple compound fractures, evidence of the torso and abdomen being repeatedly crushed under the weight of tires. I realized then, this wasn't just an accident. Caleb hadn't just hit her. He had backed up. It was a deliberate act of malice. I left the morgue, clutching the files, ready to head to the district attorney's office, but Clara was waiting for me in my car. Clara, get out of my way. I told you, Julian. This ends now. Caleb made a mistake, a small one. A small mistake? He murdered her. He's young. Do you really want to see his life ruined over a prison sentence? Would that make you happy? Clara snatched the autopsy report from my hand and ripped it up. Then, she signaled to two men in black suits, her firm's private security. They stepped forward and forcibly took my mother's remains, which were being transferred for the funeral. I fought them, screaming, but Clara held me back with a strength born of desperation. Let me go. Clara, he killed her on purpose. Enough. I said it's over. Why? He's a killer. He took my father's wife. I'm going to make him pay. Julian, don't push me. Clara forced me in her car and drove straight to a private crematorium. She stood by as her security detail pushed my mother's body into the furnace. No. I struggled against her grip, weeping, begging. Clara, please. Don't do this. My mother was murdered. You can't just. You're a lawyer. You know the truth. Why are you helping him destroy the evidence? My voice was a ragged whisper. Clara's expression softened for a fleeting second, but she didn't let go. I am sorry, Julian. Caleb is my line in the sand. I won't let anyone hurt him, not even you. When this is over, I'll make it up to you. I promise. The minutes ticked by. When the technician brought out a small urn of ashes, the strength left my body. I collapsed onto the cold tile floor. Mom, I'm so sorry. There, Clara said, her voice turning gentle, almost maternal. The body is gone. The evidence doesn't exist anymore. Just be a good man and let this go. Suddenly, her phone rang. It was Caleb. Clara? Leo says he wants to go to the carnival tonight. Where are you? I'm on my way, she said softly. Clara hung up and walked away without a backward glance. I hugged the urn, my body shaking. I had found the proof, and yet I couldn't get justice. Her favorite daughter-in-law had become the killer's shield. Her beloved grandson had committed perjury to spit on her grave. A sharp, stabbing pain bloomed in my chest. Nausea surged. I coughed, a spray of red hitting the floor, and the world went black. I woke up in our bedroom. My phone was vibrating nonstop with anonymous hate mail and death threats. The story had gone viral. Elderly woman and grandson attempt insurance fraud. Woman dies in tragic accident. It was the #2 trending topic on X. The comments were a vitriolic cesspool. Good riddance. These scammers get what they deserve. The driver is the real victim here. Imagine the trauma of hitting a crazy old lady trying to bank a settlement. At least the kid was honest. Thank God he had the guts to testify against his own family's lies. I looked at the screen, feeling like my heart was being carved out of my chest. And there, at #1 on the trending list, star attorney Clara Vance spotted at carnival with husband and son, a night of fireworks and romance. I looked at the photo. 3 people holding hands, laughing under the neon lights. It wasn't me in the photo. It was Caleb. I remembered when Clara and I were first married. We were just as happy. Back then, she told me she didn't want to be a housewife. So I stepped back. I gave up my track to the Supreme Court. She used to hold my hand and say, Julian, I'll never forget what you've done for this family. I swear I'll never let you down. When Leo was born premature, struggling for every breath, I was the one who spent nights on my knees, begging doctors, researching every treatment, saving his life. I spent 10 years hovering over him, protecting his health, being his shadow. He used to curl up in my lap and say, Daddy, when I grow up, I'm going to take care of you. But 3 years ago, Caleb Sterling appeared as Clara's mentee and junior associate. Claire started coming home later and later. She complained that Caleb made mistakes, that he wasn't as brilliant as I used to be. Yet she spent every night mentoring him. Leo started to prefer him, too. Caleb gave him the junk food I forbade. Caleb took him out to play when I insisted on homework. Until I heard Leo say, I don't like Dad. I wish Uncle Caleb was my dad. The bedroom door pushed open. Clara walked in. There was a prominent, fresh mark on her neck, a hickey. Don't worry about the internet, she said, not looking at me. I'll hire a PR firm to scrub the comments about your mom. I looked at her calmly. I noticed her wedding ring was gone. She smelled like the heavy, musky cologne Caleb always wore. Leo burst into the room, tugging at her arm. Mom, I told you Dad was fine. Come on. Uncle Caleb is waiting for us. We're going to go get family portraits taken. It's just for fun, Clara explained, her voice devoid of guilt. Caleb doesn't have a family of his own. He's always wanted a family portrait. I listened to her, but the storm inside me had died down into a flat, dead calm. The years of endurance had finally broken me. I was done. I reached into the bottom drawer of my nightstand and pulled out the divorce papers I had drafted months ago, the ones I had hidden away out of lingering, pathetic hope. Clara, I want a divorce. What? Clara froze. Then her face darkened with annoyance. Already told you, Clara said, her voice rising. Caleb lost his mother. He has no one. Leo and I are just trying to be there for him. It's a photo, Julian. Don't be pathetic. Leo stood beside her, his face a mask of coldness. Are you really going to divorce Mom because you're jealous of Uncle Caleb? You're such a loser. Fine by me, Leo continued, crossing his arms. If you guys divorce, I'm staying with Mom. You're boring and you just nag me all day. You don't even have a real job. Mom pays for everything. You're nothing compared to Uncle Caleb. Hearing my son speak with such pure, unadulterated venom, the last shred of my affection for him evaporated. Fine, I said softly. I don't want you either. Go find your new father. Leo blinked, stunned by the lack of a fight. Enough, Clara said, grabbing a pen from the desk. If you want to make this ugly in front of our son, so be it. She scrawled her name across the divorce settlement. I hope you don't regret this. Trust me, I said, syllable by syllable. I won't. As I watched her sign the papers, a weight lifted off my shoulders so suddenly it made me dizzy. From the moment we met, I had tailored my life to Clara. I had abandoned my career, my passions, and my pride to be her support system. The memories of our life together flashed through my mind like a dying reel of film. I tucked the papers into my bag and looked at Leo one last time. Leo, you're 10 now. Take care of yourself. I only told you not to eat junk food because your heart was weak when you were a baby. I'm not listening. Blah, blah, blah. Leo covered his ears. You're not my dad anymore. You can't tell me what to do. I have Uncle Caleb now. I looked at the boy I'd stayed up countless nights nursing back to health and felt a dull ache. Okay, I won't say another word. I left the house. I didn't go to a hotel. I went to the police station. I had one last card to play, a hidden dash cam from a neighbor's car that Clara's cleanup crew had missed. I had found it the night before and kept it secret. I handed it over to a detective I knew from my days as a professor. Then, I took the urn to the bluffs overlooking the ocean. This was where my father was buried. My mother's one wish was to be laid to rest beside him. It was a cold, lonely morning. As I stood by the grave, the sound of expensive leather soles clicking on stone echoed behind me. Caleb Sterling appeared, a mocking smirk on his face. Julian, I heard the news. You and Clara are officially over. Smart move. What are you doing here? I asked, my voice trembling with suppressed rage. The man who had crushed my mother's body was standing over her father's grave. Just came to see my handiwork, Caleb whispered, leaning in close. You had no idea how much fun it was, Julian. I didn't just hit her. I felt the thud, and then I put that car in reverse. I wanted to see if she'd pop. Caleb, I lunged for him, my vision tunneling with red. But Caleb was faster, not at fighting, but at acting. He threw himself onto the ground, crying out in pain. Seconds later, Clara and Leo came running up the path. Leo rushed to Caleb's side, helping him up while glaring at me with pure hatred. You bad man. I won't let you hurt Uncle Caleb. Clara stepped forward and delivered a stinging slap across my face. Her eyes were full of disgust. Julian, what is wrong with you? Caleb came here out of respect to attend the funeral, and you attack him. Apologize to him. Right now, I felt the blood trickle from the corner of my mouth. I looked at the woman I had loved for 20 years and the son I had raised. They were a phalanx protecting a murderer. Today is the day I bury my mother. And you want me to apologize to her killer? On the spot. One thing has nothing to do with the other, Clara said coldly. I told you the accident is a closed chapter. You hurt Caleb, so you will apologize. And if I don't, Clara reached out and snatched the urn from my hands. I'm not asking again, Julian. Caleb is my line in the sand. Don't push me. I began to weep, reaching out for the ashes. No, Clara, please. I'll do it. I'll apologize. Caleb put on a show of being the bigger man. Clara, it's okay. He's grieving. He didn't mean it. No, Clara said. If he's wrong, he pays the price. I clenched my fists. This woman was a stranger to me. She talked about justice and punishment while standing over the ashes of the woman she helped kill. I'm sorry, I whispered, bowing my head to Caleb. Dad, Leo piped up, his voice dripping with malice. When you apologize, you're supposed to get on your knees. Otherwise, it's not sincere. Leo, don't say that. He's still your father. Caleb reproved him gently. He's not my dad. You're my dad. I looked at Leo, and the last spark of life in my heart went out. I sank to my knees in the dirt. I am sorry. It was all my fault. Please forgive me. My eyes were fixed on the urn in Clara's hand. Clara, my mother suffered enough. I just want her to be with my father. Please, give her back. Clara's face softened for a fraction of a second. She reached out to hand me the urn. Suddenly, Caleb stumbled, his ankle giving way with a loud groan. Clara instinctively reached out to catch him. The urn slipped from her fingers. I watched in slow motion as it sailed over the edge of the cliff, falling toward the jagged rocks and the churning surf below. No, I screamed. I didn't think. I scrambled toward the edge, desperate to catch it, to save the last piece of her. Clara grabbed my arm, yanking me back. It's just a jar of ash. Do you want to die? Get off me. I shoved her away with every ounce of strength I had left. Clara, if you love him so much, you can have him. I'm done. I turned and threw myself over the edge, disappearing into the mist. Julian, Clara screamed, her voice cracking. She reached out, but her hand grasped only air. Dad, Daddy. Leo fell to his knees, his bravado vanishing instantly. He began to sob uncontrollably. Caleb rushed to Leo, trying to pull him into a hug. Leo, buddy, it's okay, it's okay. Get away from me. Leo shrieked, shoving Caleb back with surprising force. I want my dad. You did this. You killed Grandma, and now you kill my dad. Leo grabbed Clara's hand, shaking it. Mom, save him. Please, I'll be good, I promise. I want my dad back. Clara, white as a ghost, fumbled for her phone to call the authorities. Caleb tried to stop her. Clara, honey, be rational. From this height, he's gone. If you call the cops now, it'll just bring more heat on us. Get lost, Clara snarled, shoving him aside. She began barking orders into the phone, calling for search and rescue. Hours passed. Clara and Leo waited at the base of the bluffs. The ground was littered with Clara's cigarette butts. Caleb tried one more time to play the comforter. Clara, don't be so hard on yourself. It's Julian's fault for being so unstable. He abandoned you and Leo. But don't worry, I'll take care of you both. Leo hit him. I don't want you. I want my dad. You're a murderer. You killed Grandma. Caleb's face twisted in frustration. Before he could respond, a fleet of police cruisers pulled into the parking lot. They weren't search and rescue. Caleb Sterling, a detective, asked. Yes? What's going on? The detective produced a warrant. Caleb Sterling, you're under arrest for the first-degree murder of Martha Miller. You have the right to remain silent. What? No, that's impossible. That case is closed. Caleb looked at Clara. Clara, help me. You promised your father you'd protect me. The handcuffs clicked shut. Clara, save me. My dad died for you. Caleb screamed as he was dragged toward the car. Clara didn't move. A moment later, a search and rescue team approached, carrying a stretcher. On it was a body, badly mangled, wearing the same black suit I had worn to the funeral. Ms. Vance? We found this at the base of the cliffs. The face is, well, the rocks and the animals were thorough. But the clothes matched the description of your husband. Clara stood frozen. She looked at the blood-stained suit. Dad, Daddy, Leo wailed, throwing himself onto the body. Clara reached out, her hand trembling as she touched the white sheet. She pulled it back, saw the carnage beneath, and quickly let it fall. Caleb, she whispered, her voice like broken glass. I gave you everything, and you took everything from me. Ms. Vance, is this your husband? Yes, Clara choked out. She took a step back, coughed up a spray of blood, and collapsed onto the sand. Clara woke up in a sterile hospital room. The nurse checked her vitals and nodded curtly. You're stable. You can be discharged whenever you're ready. Can I have some tea with honey? Clara asked reflexively. This is a hospital, not a hotel, the nurse said, looking at her strangely before walking out. Clara leaned back against the pillows. She remembered the last time she was sick. Every time she opened her eyes, I was there. There was always a warm cup of honey water on a nightstand. I would prepare every meal from scratch. She remembered the early years. She used to hold my hand and tell me she was the luckiest woman in the world. But as the years passed, and as Caleb entered the picture, she had begun to treat my devotion as a chore, a background noise she was entitled to. Julian, she whispered. She dragged herself out of bed and went to the hospital morgue. She had been here before to steal my mother's body. Now, she was looking for mine. She checked the drawers. 1, 2, 10, nothing. Where is he? She demanded of the clerk. The clerk informed her that the body had already been sent for cremation at the family's request. Who authorized that? Clara screamed, rushing to the crematorium. The doctor watched her go, muttering to himself. The next of kin authorized it. Why is this stranger making a scene? Clara reached the crematorium just as the furnace door closed. She collapsed, sinking into a pit of despair. She finally understood. Julian, is this how it felt? When I burned your mother? Is this how much it hurt? An hour later, a technician came out with an urn. Clara reached for it, but the man pulled back. Sorry, Mom, you're not the family. A couple walked past her, thanked the technician, and took the urn. Clara watched them go, confused. She called the search and rescue lead. She demanded to know where my body was. Oh, Ms. Vance, we were going to call you. The DNA results came back. That body wasn't your husband. It was a hiker who had gone missing 3 days ago. Apparently, he was wearing a similar suit for a mountaintop wedding. Julian is alive. A surge of manic joy hit her. She ran to Leo's school. She knew that no matter how much I hated her, I could never stay away from our son. She found Leo sitting by the playground, head in his hands. Lau. Mom. I saw him. I saw Dad. Leo ran to her, sobbing. I saw him at the gate, but when I ran to him, he disappeared. He hates me, Mom. He really hates me. Clara's heart hammered. You saw him. They went to the security office and pulled the footage. There I was. I had survived the fall by landing in a thicket of pines and sliding into a cave. I had hiked out the other side of the mountain. The footage showed me watching Leo from behind a tree, my expression unreadable before I turned and walked away. Clara tracked my credit card. I was at the airport. She found me at the international terminal, just feet away from the gate. Julian. She tried to throw her arms around me. I stepped back, my face like granite. Can I help you? Julian, it's me. I thought you were dead. I'm so sorry. I'm aware of who you are, Miss Vance. But as I recall, we are divorced. If you'll excuse me, I have a flight to catch. Julian, wait. Caleb is going to prison for life. I'm making it right. Please forgive me. I know I was wrong. She gripped my wrist, her knuckles white. Let go. I wrenched my arm away. Forgive you? I gave up my life for you. I was your ghost, and you rewarded me by defending the man who murdered my mother. I laughed, a cold, sharp sound. You're a hell of a lawyer, Clara. You destroyed all the evidence. You did a great job. Clara's voice failed her. Final boarding call for flight 204 to London. Julian, what about Leo? You're just going to leave your son? Right then, Leo came running through the crowd. He grabbed my coat, howling. Dad, don't go. I'm sorry. You can hit me, you can yell at me, just don't leave me. I looked down at the boy. I remembered him on the witness stand. I remembered him telling me he wanted Caleb to be his father. I remembered him telling me to get on my knees. He was my son, but I was also my mother's son. I'm not your father, I said, my voice flat. Your father is in a holding cell. Go visit him. I pried his fingers off my coat. No, I want you. Leo sobbed, reaching for my legs. Clara looked at me, her eyes pleading. Julian, give us one more chance. We could be a family again. A family? I looked at the two of them. They were the people I had loved most in the world, and they had conspired to break me. Security. I called out to a nearby TSA officer. These people are harassing me and preventing me from boarding. The officer stepped in, pulling Clara and Leo back. I didn't look back. I walked through the gate, handed over my boarding pass, and stepped onto the jet bridge. As the plane leveled off at 30,000 feet, I pulled the SIM card out of my phone and dropped it into my ginger ale. I leaned back and closed my eyes. I was free. Story complete.